blessed ones. Welcome back to Shelter in the Storm with A Course in Miracles, Lesson 35. Excuse me. I have a quick correction from yesterday's text reading to do at the end of this recording. Alright, I'll just read the last sentence of our previous text reading, just so we know where we're up to. Excuse me, I have a little tickle in my throat. The statement, "Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord," is a misperception by which one assigns his own evil past to God. The evil past has nothing to do with God. He did not create it, and he does not maintain it. God does not believe in retribution. His mind does not create that way. He does not hold your evil deeds against you. Is it likely that he would hold them against me? Be very sure that you recognize how utterly impossible this assumption is, and how entirely it arises from projection. This kind of error is responsible for a host of related errors, including the belief that God rejected Adam and forced him out of the Garden of Eden. It is also why you may believe from time to time that I am misdirecting you. I have made every effort to use words that are almost impossible to distort. But it is always possible to twist symbols around if you wish. Sacrifice is a notion totally unknown to God. It arises solely from fear, and frightened people can be vicious. Sacrificing in any way is a violation of my injunction that you should be merciful, even as your Father in heaven is merciful. It has been hard for many Christians to realize that this applies to themselves. Good teachers never terrorize their students. To terrorize is to attack, and this results in rejection of what the teacher offers. The result is often learning failure. The result is learning failure. There's no often in there. Excuse me. I have been correctly referred to as the Lamb of God who taketh away the sins of the world. But those who represent the Lamb as blood-stained do not understand the meaning of the symbol. Correctly understood, it is a very simple symbol that speaks of my innocence. The lion and the lamb lying down together symbolize that strength and innocence are not in conflict, but naturally live in peace. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God, is another way of saying the same thing. A pure mind knows the truth, and this is its strength. It does not confuse destruction with innocence, because it associates innocence with strength, not with weakness. Innocence is incapable of sacrificing anything, because the innocent mind has everything and strives only to protect its wholeness. It cannot project. It can only honor other minds, because honor is the natural greeting of the truly loved to others who are like them. The Lamb taketh away the sins of the world, in the sense that the state of innocence, or grace, is one in which the meaning of the atonement is perfectly apparent. The atonement is entirely unambiguous. It is perfectly clear, because it exists in light. Only the attempts to shroud it in darkness have made it inaccessible to those who do not choose to see. I'll leave it there for the text reading tonight. I will quickly make a correction from my our text reading yesterday. I actually changed out the word establish for abolish, which is quite a interesting change out, don't you think? They both end in sh, but they're quite very opposite meaning words. So it was in the second sentence of the first paragraph. I'll just read the first two sentences and put the correction of establish there in place of abolish. So at the beginning of part 1, chapter 3, Atonement Without Sacrifice, the reading actually says, a further point must be perfectly clear before any residual fear still associated with miracles can disappear. The crucifixion did not establish the atonement. The resurrection did. So I'll just put that correction there. And it's interesting too, guys, those who are following the reading with their own text, you'll pick up my errors, words that I drop out, add in. It's very interesting. I'm wondering if that's the ego mind's way of interfering with this work. I have a feeling it is, because I try to be very focused when I'm doing these readings. But accidents will happen. So there we go. Let's move to lesson 35. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. Today's idea does not describe the way you see yourself now. It does, however, describe what vision will show you. It is difficult for anyone who thinks he is in this world to believe this of himself. Yet the reason he thinks he is in this world is because he does not believe it. Very interesting paradox there that's just described, isn't it? You will believe that you are part of where you think you are. That is because you surround yourself with the environment you want. And you want it to protect the image of yourself that you have made. The image is part of this environment. What you see while you believe you are in it is seen through the eyes of the image. This is not vision. Images cannot see. No, they can't. The idea for today presents a very different view of yourself. By establishing your source, it establishes your identity, and it describes you as you must really be in truth. We will use a somewhat different kind of application for today's idea, because the emphasis for today is on the perceiver rather than on what he perceives. For each of the 3 5-minute practice periods today, begin by repeating today's idea to yourself, and then close your eyes and search your mind for the various kinds of descriptive terms in which you see yourself. Include all the ego-based attributes which you ascribe to yourself, positive or negative, desirable or undesirable, grandiose or debased. All of them are equally unreal, because you do not look upon yourself through the eyes of holiness. In the earlier part of the mind-searching period, you will probably emphasize what you consider to be the more negative aspects of your perception of yourself. Toward the latter part of the exercise period, however, more self-inflating descriptive terms may well cross your mind. Try to recognize that the direction of your fantasies about yourself does not matter. You're going to hear that a lot throughout this course. It does not matter. Illusions have no direction in reality. They are merely not true. A suitable, unselected list for applying the idea for today might be as follows. I see myself as imposed on. I see myself as depressed. I see myself as failing. I see myself as endangered. I see myself as helpless. I see myself as victorious. I see myself as losing out. I see myself as charitable. I see myself as virtuous. You should not think of these terms in an abstract way. They will occur to you as various situations, personalities, and events in which you figure cross your mind. Pick up any specific situation that occurs to you. Identify the descriptive term or terms you feel are applicable to your reactions to that situation, and use them in applying today's idea. After you have named each one, add, "But my mind is part of God's. I am very holy." So for example, we would say, begin with today's lesson. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. Then we can close our eyes and say, I see myself as imposed upon, followed immediately by, but my mind is part of God's. I am very holy. I feel differently when I touch tap tap right here in the heart. During the longer exercise periods, there will probably be intervals in which nothing specific occurs to you. Do not strain to think up specific things to fill the interval, but merely relax and repeat today's idea slowly until something occurs to you. Although nothing that does occur should be omitted from the exercises. Nothing should be dug out with effort. Neither force nor discrimination should be used. As often as possible during the day, pick up a specific attribute or attributes you are ascribing to yourself at the time and apply the idea for today to them, adding the idea in the form stated above to each of them. If nothing in particular occurs to you, merely repeat the idea to yourself with eyes closed. That's our lesson 35 instructions. Let us now move to Jesus' commentary about lesson 35. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. You are blessed beings. Indeed. I am that one you know as Jesus. I always tell you that you are blessed beings, because you do not perceive yourselves that way. An important point of view for you to carry through your day is to forgive yourself for the misperceptions and poor teaching you have had that have caused arrogance, irritability, lust, anger, or self-righteous. You have many opinions of yourself that cause you great suffering because they shut down a part of your mind. They shut down a part of your emotions, which shuts down access to parts of the world and the experience you might potentially have. If you see yourself as angry, then you will have to reflect that back to yourself in the world. So you will encounter anger. If you see yourself as imposed on, you will have people imposing on you, and you will feel you are a victim of the world. Remember lesson 11. I am not a victim of the world. These perceptions create experiences for you. So it is important for you to remember that your vision of yourself as holy means you have beautiful experiences, holy experiences. We want you to soak in the knowledge that you are, in fact, a divine aspect of God mind. You have merely forgotten it, and the world reflects your lack of belief in your divinity. Your divinity will take you home. The shift in your knowledge of your connection to all that is, that you are not abandoned or separate, takes you home to the truth that you are at one with all that is. God, the great universal consciousness. This is not your natural home. You are away from your natural home, which makes you feel abandoned and alone. But you have chosen this journey into fear and separation, and it continues every time you have an unloving thought about yourself that does not see you as holy. So we want you to take this lesson seriously. It serves as a beacon for your journey home to love. I am that one you know as Jesus, and we will see you again tomorrow. Namaste, blessed ones. Holy beings,